To the top of the map, the Casper Terran player in red for CGN starts. He is 0-2 in the group. He needs a win here if he wants to get a chance to get first or second spot and advance to Goddess. Can he do it? Yes.
CGN Bbyong.
His fans quite vocal despite the fact that he is really struggling.
He needs the support here.
He really does, and they're sending it to him. His opponent is the final boss, the top Zerg player for MVP. He's known as
MVP DongRaeGu.
Talking about the support for both of them, we plugged DRG's Twitter already a couple of times, but in case that you missed it, it's MVP DongRaeGu. But we didn't talk about Bbyong's Twitter account. He's actually one of the few Casper players that has a Twitter account. He has very few followers, so if you're a fan of the CGN player or just a Terran fan in general, you can add him. His Twitter account is 92Bbyong, with a double B of course, as it's spelled at the top left. So definitely add him and send him a few tweets if you want. The Casper players, most of them just started recently to get their Twitter accounts up.
Yeah.
Two of us already had one for quite a while. Mine is at Caldor, Wolf's is at ProxyWolf. We want to add the two of us. And also make sure that you add the GSL at GOMTV.
Yeah, someone did send me a math problem, by the way, and I solved it.
You solved it.
Caldor watched me too. He didn't even help me. But I solved it. I looked up the answer. I was right. I was right. It was 5. I know earlier I misspoke. But
you were so proud when you did that.
I was, man. I knew what I had done.
Wolf actually wrote the answer back to the guy that tweeted him, and instead of just going for an exclamation mark, he sent a question mark because he was like, I don't trust myself anymore.
But I was right, and I'm happy. This drone is actually being assassinated. Well, it's not even, it's a pretty clumsy assassination, I have to say.
Yeah, he traps it in the main base. This is definitely not Agent 47 at work.
No, definitely not. There's a bunch of SCVs. Oh, is he gonna let it out? Oh,
I would not be that sloppy.
No, I know you would be much better.
Yeah.
But this drone, man. Oh, it just.
Oh, 1 hit point. He's taunting him here. Now he's getting the scouting information out. Now he sees the double barracks, he knows the double barracks, he knows that there's a command center. So nothing hidden from him, no gas just yet. DongRaeGu has all the information that he needs. He's going for the double queen here. We have him without an extractor up to this point. On a map like this, there are a lot of strategies that you can go for. And DRG against Terran, he has a lot of options to choose from. He can go into the standard 3 bases, defend with the queens, and then just go and hit, for example, a Broodlord timing that is very popular with Lenok. He can go into the standard style, the traditional style with Ultralisks later on in the game. 4th bases are always the issue here. Do you go for a 4th base? Do you try to hit the timing on 3 bases and save them with spine crawlers and spore crawlers? A lot of options for a Zerg. And every Zerg player knows the problem about Antica Shipyard. So how do you deal with it? Exactly. 3 base timings, pressure.
There's a lot of different ways. And what we've seen, I feel like recently, is there's 2 different approaches. One is the 3 base Greater Spire, and to take in a 4th once you have those Broodlords out to kind of control the map. The other one is something that you might see Lucira do, which is to do that big heavy attack off 3 bases at your opponent's 3rd, where if he doesn't have bunkers and siege tanks and a lot of them set up, then you might just break him and end the game. So usually players choose 1 or 2. Bbyong has a little squad set out here to try to find and kill an Overlord, but so far he's unsuccessful.
I'm wondering how much Bbyong is affected with the 2 losses that he already has. This is definitely not the way you want to start into a group like this. And he can, with a win, still get 1st or 2nd in a group, but DongRaeGu is a tough opponent. And if Bbyong loses, then the only way that he can go to Codes this week is by getting 3rd place and then winning the wildcard group. The Overlord sees the Marines here, and Bbyong might feel a bit insecure about this performance so far. Against Lucira and Symbol, he had no chance, like literally none, and now he's up against DongRaeGu, probably the toughest opponent he's going to face today. So that's always a situation where he might be a bit uncomfortable. He goes for the 3rd base now. We have him with the Marines still roaming the map, just having a quick glimpse at the 3rd base, not even attempting to do damage here. He knows that there's too much for DRG on the map already, so just poking, getting the scouting information, and then backing off.
Yeah.
What he was trying to do here is mainly hunting Overlords.
He wants to hunt Overlords, he gets good information. I like this. We've seen very few players actually send their Marines around the map doing just little pokes like this. He's even going to check now, see if he can find Overlord to the north, or even find a hidden base that DRG would not likely take, but that's another thing we haven't really touched on is sometimes Zerg players will try to take a 4th base by simply hiding it, which is really, really risky because if something like this, like Byong's 3 Marines finds one of those bases, then you actually just lose it. There's no way to defend it. It's too far away, but the Baneling Nest goes up now. Upgrades way ahead for DRG. Right now he's getting 1-1-1, well, not 1-1-1, not yet, not quite, but Bbyong is getting his E-Bays at the same time as the upgrades are already started for DRG.
You know, it's actually really funny. Bbyong finds himself in a kind of the worst spot of all players if he wants to get one of the top 2 spots, because he has to win every single game. There he finally finds an Overlord. But even this Overlord is most likely going to escape. It's going to be close though. Ah, no, not just. Yeah, but the thing is, he finds himself in a weird situation because of how the games went so far. He has to win against every single opponent that he's going to face from now on if he wants to go straight into Contest, which means he has to defeat DRG, he has to defeat Grubby, and he has to defeat First later on. So a very tough spot for him to be in, but even if he just aims for the 3rd place in the group, he needs more wins. The tag for DRG has been started, not only the +1/+1, but also going into lair. +1 for +1 is also on the way for Bbyong. Claims his 3rd now, moving over.
A lot of links coming out for DRG here, and he knows that 3rd base is going to be coming down pretty soon, so we could see him hit with that timing. He's got 26 more lings. Baneling Nest is done. Speed started.
You know what strikes me as a little bit more interesting is that DRG is on a very small drone count. He is currently looking at 56, so he definitely is going for aggression.
Yeah,
and
no
I am
Spire,
wondering,
though, you know, interestingly enough.
I actually think that he wanted to go for the the speed upgrade for the Banelings more, that he's going to try to hit with a huge attack here. Yeah. That might be one of the things that he's attempting to do. We've seen this in the past, but if you do it, you have to hit before your opponent has the siege mode upgrade.
Very true, and
that's the Spire.
Tanks are already started. There's the Spire.
Which is safer. It's a safer option to not rely solely on Ling Baneling attacks.
Byong's attack here is pretty scary, but he comes on creep, and DRG tries to punish. The micro is really good, and the Hellions targeted those Banelings, but it looks like DRG will definitely have enough here.
I am surprised that Bbyong did not pick up more units.
Yeah,
he didn't have enough medivacs to save everything.
He could have saved more, though.
Yeah.
He was really into getting those Banelings, and he got them, but, I mean, was it worth it? I don't think so.
There's, of course, always 2 things that you have to do if you are facing such a situation. You take down as many Banelings as possible, you try to target them down, but you try to save the rest of your army, as many as possible. This is the reason why he had those 2 medivacs with them. A push out like this, if you do that as soon as you have the first 2 medivacs, is usually attempting to kill creep tumors. You want to go out, scan, take down creep tumors. If the Zerg moves in, you live with the medivacs and you go back home. He had too many units, and now we have a situation where he suddenly lost a huge chunk of his army, and that's missing when he has to defend against this huge Baneling aggression that is coming from DRG now.
Yeah, it's actually going to be a speed Baneling timing attack that he goes at the 3rd with, and the thing is, there's nothing much at the 3rd at all. I mean, he sends a few SCVs over now. He's
going for the natural.
He's going for the natural. There's 1 siege tank on the high ground. The 2nd siege tank is ready.
Yeah, but still, 1 siege tank, is that enough? The second one is dying, and those Banelings getting the position.
Yeah.
Taking down quite a few SCVs.
DRG is doing too much here, I think.
DRG took down 20 SCVs already at 25, 26. The Lings are coming in.
He could kill the tank on the high ground. He decides to go for more SCVs instead.
This is one of those questions. Do you even lift your supply depots, bro?
Yeah. I actually get that at first. I'm like, that was fun. Sorry, I ruined everything, but...
You're fine. Mutalist transition, that's the scary part now. DRG already 40 supply ahead, going into +2/+2, still on 3 bases. He did a lot of damage with this. And resources lost fairly even though, but the harvester count, that's the big issue. 30 against 72.
He has now 10 mutas. He's about to have 12. There are no turrets, and so many of those SCVs that survived are on low hit points because of the Ling attack. So he's going to be able to kill so much here. There's a drop full of Marines on the middle of the map, which means even less Marines to defend this Viking.
Bye-bye, Viking.
It's no more. And he's just going to kill so many SCVs here.
Bbyong today is in a really... he's having a hard time, a tough time against Zerg players.
His fangirl's not going to sleep well tonight.
No, definitely not. He's losing now the siege tank on the high ground. He lost even more SCVs. DRG was able to take down 35 harvesters in this game.
And he's ready for the drop. He spotted it earlier. There's a cool position for him to hold in the main base there, but it's not going to be too helpful once the mutas arrive. And here they come.
There, even more. He's just going for more and more Mutalisks now. He's moving in. All the Marines are dead. A nice transfuse, saving even every single Mutalisk. So, I don't know. 60 supply behind. Do you think Bbyong has any chance at all to come back in this game?
It's a hair of a chance, man. I would put it at pretty small. He could actually kill this if he pulls the weekend mutas back to the trade, and he actually loses none.
You know, he's trying to drop. He knows that this might one of the things that he would be able to do, but with the Overlord coverage that DongRaeGu has and the Mutalisk being also a great weapon against drop play, there's no opening for Bbyong. DRG today presents a playstyle that is very stable, that leaves very little for an opponent to exploit, and he is now in a position where he can crush the forces of Bbyong.
As long as he kills that army that comes, that first fight we had where Bbyong didn't pick up very many of his Marines, as long as he wins that fight, the follow-up is good. He's picking off medevacs here in ST style. And, oh, gotta be a little bit more careful as Mia's there, but here we go! I think this could be the end of Bbyong!
If he takes out the siege tanks, I'm sure it will. There's just not enough for him to defend. Marines on the high ground are still chilling. And here come the Banelings rolling in. Thor is trying to do something against the Mutalisks, but with the magic box he can take it out in no time.
Yep, and that's it. Bbyong will not be in Codes, at least not without a wild card. Even the celebration, detonating all his Banelings there intentionally without killing anything. I mean, he's just telling him, hey man, this game is over. Morlings rallying in. He's going to go for the third base, I suppose. Now he could fight with just as few as he does.
The Marines have to retreat here. He doesn't really want to fight with only the Mutalisks. He always wants to have a bit of ground support. The circling reinforcements are here and trying to lend their strength to the Mutalisks. And they take down everything. A 77 supply for Bbyong against 150. A fourth base now ready for DRG. GG. Bbyong on 0-3. The same score as Grubby. DRG takes the third win. Very well played and is still leading the group. Visibly unimpressed.
Absolutely.
And Bbyong seems to be
he's a little bit
at a loss for words.
Yeah, for sure. He doesn't know what to say. Tugging at his lip there a little bit. That was a tough loss, but he stepped on DRG's creep and DongRaeGu surrounded him, went for the follow-up attack, and once you get that SCV lead, as long as you don't make any major mistakes, DongRaeGu's just going to run away with the game.
DRG takes it in convincing fashion and is now the sole leader of the group with a 3-0, which means if he takes the next game, which will be against First, then he has a spot in Codes. And we are having another break before we head into the next set of matches. So guys, stay tuned. We are going to see how Grubby and Bbyong are doing in the next game. The loser is, of course, completely out, doesn't even have a chance to get third in the group anymore. We are back in a few, and then we'll see the next match here at the GSL Up and Downs Group C.